George Fokas, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Nick.
We basically did a podcast prior to the
The
podcast.
podcast, yes.
And I don't know where this conversation is going to go. It could go in many different directions.
Absolutely.
But it's not going to be about, money or stocks per se.
Mhm.
It's more so I want to get to know you,
Mhm.
talk about what's happening in the world.
Yep.
And I really want to dive into, fatherhood, leadership, faith, and how we can live in this world with courage and integrity, especially when they want us to be silent. And for you look on your social media, you don't give a rat's ass about anything.
No.
You speak about what you believe in, you put it out there. And I'm very curious, where was that integrity instilled into you?
Coming from a Greek background, integrity was very important, especially for my parents. Your presence and your reputation and what other people are going to think was very important. That's how we were brought up. Make sure you're prim and proper, make sure you do the right thing, because an auntie, cousin, or family friend will see you on the streets, and if you do the wrong thing, they're gonna then talk about you and gossip about you and tell others and all that sort of stuff. So my parents were always very make sure we do the right thing and make sure we're looked at in the community as respectable people. And you do the right thing in the community. Now, my parents came from Europe in the late 50s, so they didn't have any money. They left a village to come to Australia with basically a suitcase, and my parents worked all their lives. So we weren't rich. My parents struggled all their lives just to pay down one house. They bought a house. They were working all their lives to pay it off. But the biggest thing for us was, family values, doing the right thing, religion, following, our religious path as well, and our faith, being Greek Orthodox. And, again, just doing the right thing in the community, helping other people in need, helping people less fortunate, but also our reputation and integrity was very important. So that was instilled in me from a very young age. But seeing my parents struggling all their lives, my biggest thing was I don't want to be working and I don't want to be a slave to the system. So I was the black sheep of the family. I've got a brother that's 8 years older who was conditioned by my parents and my father especially to work. Study hard, go to school, go to university, work, save, head down, bum up. That traditional, it wasn't just European, it was everybody, work hard, save for your old age mentality. And I was a bit of a black sheep, bit of a rat bag, and I didn't want to go down that path. I started working because I'll talk about the HSC, muck up day, I got locked up.
Yeah, okay.
I got locked up, we won't go into that, but other than just I got locked up a couple of days before the HSC. So I didn't do well at school. So my parents weren't happy and I just started working. I found a job in insurance. I started as an accounts clerk. I worked my way up the corporate ladder to a business development manager for Allianz. And I needed to find ways to make money because for me, I didn't want to work all my life. I saw my father working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Growing up, I didn't know who my father was because, the traditional father works, mother's at home looking after the family. I said, I don't want to do that when I have kids. So for me, it was, what do I do? What do I find? How do I make money work for me to give me flexibility and lifestyle? And that's where I started looking at investing in property, which I did to start with, but that I hit a hurdle with serviceability. The banks wouldn't lend me, which meant I had to work more to make more. And so I didn't want to do that. So that's where I looked at the stock market. I actually used to insure Rene Rivkin when he was alive and I was in the insurance industry. And I ended up speaking to him a bit and he sort of guided me on the path that I'm in at the moment that I've been on for 25 years.
Yeah, wow.
So that's where I've come from. And because of that, and because of being in the public eye and traveling around the world, speaking on stages, listening to different people, seeing different people's opinions, it's opened my eyes to what's really going on around the world. We talk about these groups of, I won't call them elites, they're scumbags, people at the top that are trying to dictate and control. They label themselves elites, so they want us to call them elites. They're not elites, they're just dictators and controllers. And I got to be in communities and groups where I was able to see some of the stuff that most people wouldn't understand or believe or think true, calling it conspiracy theories and all that sort of stuff. And then, we go into Hollywood, for example, and we look at the movies and all that's doing is brainwashing us and conditioning us of what they're planning and what's coming. So, Eyes Wide Shut, for example, a movie that is something that actually does happen, which they've published and put out there. These are the sort of things that people just think it's movie-like, but it's not. It's reality. We can go down that rabbit hole, and I'm going to just go deep and talk about, adrenochrome and child trafficking and sex trafficking and all that. And, my mind's running a million miles an hour, and I don't know what to say to what people are going to go, because you can only give people so much before their conditioning and their brainwashing and their level of consciousness will accept before they just switch off and go, no, not possible.
Yes. Yeah, there's so many different rabbit holes we can go down.
There is. And this is why, we need to learn to become open-minded. Because I'm 50 years old, and what I've seen in the last 5 years from 2020 when we had this pandemic and I call it COVID because it's a con. Since the last 5 years, what I've seen in the last 5 years, I haven't seen in 50 years of my life.
Really?
I mean, 45 years of my life. And what we're going to see over the next 5 years is even worse than the 5 years that we've seen right now. And I don't want to scare people. It's not conspiracy. It's fact of what's their agenda and what they're planning. And so it needs, especially us men, especially whether we're single parents like yourself or whether we've got families, the masculinity is being attacked. They're dumbing us down. Testosterone levels are the lowest it's ever been. We're struggling to have kids. Actually, I was driving here today and I was thinking about this. I was looking around and looking at all the high rises and all the buildings that they're building. And do you realise when our parents and grandparents were here in Australia and even around the world, they were building and buying quarter-acre blocks, half-acre blocks, acre blocks, and building 3-4 bedroom houses because they were pushing for couples to have families and grow families.
Yeah.
What are we doing now? We're building studios, 1 bedrooms in blocks of concrete in the air.
The concrete jungle.
That's exactly right. So what are they planning for us in the future where our testosterone is declining as adults, as males, right? And women are struggling to fall pregnant because of what we're eating, processed foods, seed oils, and all that sort of stuff.
I've seen so many people like trying to have kids and they have to go down the IVF route.
Correct. Because they can't. So these are the things that we need to look at and understand and be open to and realize that from expanding of families, they're contracting of families now. They're putting us in a 1-bedroom studio or even a 2-bedroom, and they're putting us in concrete in the air. So what's happening to society? That's the biggest thing we need to look at. We can talk about the spraying in the skies. We can talk about the foods that we're eating. And, the last 3 years, in fact, probably the last 4 years, I've removed seed oils.
Yep.
I do a carnivore diet. I've lost about 12 kilos. I feel the best I've ever felt. I'm 50. I outdo my 18-year-old son.
I was going to say, you're looking good.
I've started trying to go to the gym a bit, but, with my travels and everything, for me, lifestyle.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me right now is I retired at the age of 30 with the strategy that I've been applying for the last 25 years. I retired at the age of 30. I travel and I teach. But for me, it's about life is short. And we've been conditioned to work all our lives. We leave school at the age of 18 and we work until 65. And we've been conditioned to think midlife crisis is at 40 or 50. It's not. Because most people right now are living to 70. So when you think about it, 35 is your midlife. That's where your crisis is. But our whole education system, which is outdated, has conditioned us to think we're going to live life at 50 and 60. That's where you've got your problems. That's where you've worked all your ass off all your life. That's where you got your back problems. That's where your leg problems. That's where you get all your issues starting. And then you're pushing yourself to 60, 65 to then try and live on a government handout called a pension. And then you realise I can't live on the pension. I've got to do something about it. And that's where people then start to look at, what do I do? How do I make more money? It's too late. I'll be honest, it's too late.
Yeah.
You should have thought about that, but the system is conditioning us to not think about that. The system, basically, when we're drowning, shoves a hose in our mouth. That's what the system does while we're drowning.
A lot of people say the system's broken, but it's working exactly how it was designed to work.
Designed to work against us.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
And coming back to the schooling system, like your kids went through school and you said there was a period where you you were going to homeschool your kids and you attempted to do that.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the schooling system and parents these days, where we have to work, right? We have to work to provide for our families, and it is they have made it so hard for example, a man to go out and work and a woman to stay home and look after the kids.
Yep.
What's your advice to them? Because it's a hard one.
Well, there's lots of things that we can touch on there. Originally, the system was looking after the family values, whereas a one income could support the whole family, where the father worked and the mother stayed home. But they've done it in a way where they don't want the family values. They don't want the family connected. They want both parents working, no kids in the family. Like, I was at a wedding on the weekend, I heard these dinks or some shit. Double income, no kids. And I went, what the hell is that? Like, all these freaking acronyms, names, shits that they're all bringing out, right? So a family friend of ours bought a unit in Coogee, and they're renovating it, and they're like, yeah, we've got two incomes, we can afford to get a little unit in Coogee, we're near the beach, but we don't want to have kids. And I'm like, well, that's basically what the whole government system is doing for us. So when we go back to the education system, it's working as it is, teaching people to be slaves to the system. Because as I mentioned to you before we started, if you look at a prison system and you look at a school system, it's exactly the same. It's mirror image. The prisoners get on a bus to go to the jail. They've got set times they can have lunch and go out and have a break and go to the toilet. The schooling system is exactly the same. So during the COVID period, we were trying to homeschool, and they made life difficult. The government's applying to do homeschooling made it difficult because they don't want homeschooling. But as I mentioned to you, there was a group of teachers from the eastern suburbs out of those eastern suburbs schools that didn't get the poison injected into them. And so they started a homeschooling program, which is still running. And I would strongly encourage people to consider homeschooling, because otherwise we are going down the path of what they want to dictate to our kids. We talk about Victoria and 4 or 5-year-olds talking about this LGBS shit. And again, forgive me, but that's my belief. That mental health is a big problem, and they're normalising mental health. They're humans, they need respect, and I totally agree. Everyone needs respect no matter what your beliefs are. But these mental health issues that they're normalising in society is what's causing the problems that we're seeing. When you look at all the shootings in the US, and we talked about that, every single shooting is coming from a trans person that's allowed in society without any treatment and access to a gun. It's not the gun that's killing, it's the person behind the gun that's killing. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with what I'm saying. And as adults, we've all got opinions and we've all got views. We either agree or disagree, and that's okay. But as adults, we can say, okay, I accept your view, I don't agree with it. But I hear what you're saying. And that goes back to me sitting and listening. I am very opinionated. I am very vocal. I was getting blocked on Facebook every 30 days. Facebook would block me 30 days. My 30 days would be up. I would do a post and they would block me for another 30 days. I was more blocked on Facebook for 3 years than what I was posting.
Yeah, wow.
And I had to open up dummy Facebook accounts and all that sort of stuff. And then, and then I started Telegram because that was the way I could talk. And I had a massive following on Telegram because that's where I went. I said to people, you've got to, I've got to, let you know what the information I'm getting. As I mentioned to you, in my line of work, I teach stock market investing. I teach how to make money work for you. I've got students who are barristers, solicitors. I had doctors. I had pilots, nurses. During the pandemic, I had people who came to me and said, George, I'm a pilot, for example. I don't want to work. I don't want to get the jab. I need to find a way to make money. I had doctors and nurses say the same thing. I'm losing my practice. I'm losing my job. I need to make money. And information was coming to me in regards to all this. And that's why for me, we go back to education. We are educated to think and not question and just believe that this is the science. And our governments say this is the science, and all of a sudden we need to believe it. So when I see Channel 7 now on social media post the science says, the first thing I post is show me the science. And is the science independent, or is the science paid by and backed by a pharmaceutical? I never get a response, but it's just writing that out there and getting people to think, yeah, okay, they're just telling us it's the science, but where's the evidence? What is the science?
Yeah.
So, we need to learn to be able to teach our kids, one, values, and two, that they have to question everything and not just take anything on face value.
Yeah, we've lost the ability to critically think.
Correct.
And we were speaking before around parents giving their kids iPads and they're just being stimulated by screens all day.
Mm-hmm.
Even adults are being stimulated by screens all day, right?
Yep.
And I did a little in-house study with my daughter where a day I was like, okay, you can watch TV, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was kind of glued to it.
Yep.
And then the next day I said, no TV.
Yep.
You're not doing any screen time.
Yep.
Go be bored.
Yep.
Be bored. Play. You got all these toys. Go outside. And she obviously kicked up a stink initially.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just let her do her thing. Next minute, she's outside playing with dolls. Dad, let's go do this. Let's
Yep.
do that.
Yep.
And then the day after that, okay, you can have a little bit of screen time. TV's on. She watches it for 10 minutes and just walks off and start playing with her toys.
Yep.
Like initially, these kids don't care about the screen. They want to go out. They want to play. They want to explore.
Yep.
Yet as adults, because we've now been conditioned to be on a screen all the time, we think, okay, we're just going to shove it in front of our kids because we got stuff to do, right?
Well, it's not we got stuff to do. We're so inundated with what's going on that we just feel drained, that the easy thing to do is just be distracted by the screen. And so how do we keep ourselves distracted? Is we tell our kids to be distracted by a screen, and then we're distracted by a screen, which is removing communication and removing that energy and connection that we as humans have with one another.
Yeah.
We are an energy field. We produce energy. Isn't it interesting when you might be driving and thinking about someone and then all of a sudden that someone rings you or sends you a message and you go, how the hell? I was just thinking of you, or I was just thinking about something. And that's the energy that we put out. Now, people say, is it religion? Is it this? Is it that? The world is an energy. We are an energy.
Yes.
And how do they dumb us down and how do they remove our energy? We've got these 5G towers that are all over the place at a lower level that are removing and killing our energy space.
Yeah, they want us to vibrate at low frequencies.
Correct. That's why they changed music. Music was at 440 hertz. They changed it to 437 to distract our energy fields. So music, when it was played back in the day, I think it was at 440. I could be wrong, but I think it was around 440. Then they changed that 440 to, I think it was 437, somewhere around there. And then so they changed music because music resonated with us. I don't know if you're a bit younger than me, but you're way younger than me. But do you remember, you may remember, I remember when I was growing up around my area, we would always on a Sunday hear church bells. And church bells release a frequency that our body needs for healing. Now, if you look at churches, there are no church bells. They have removed all church bells because that healing frequency that church bells give, they don't want it.
Yeah, well, I don't recall per se the church bells, but me going down a spiritual route, like you do the bowls and you do the sound healing and everything like that. It's the same sort of stuff.
Correct. But whether you travel around anywhere, any country, any church, they don't have bells anymore. And if they do, they don't hit them. They don't ring them. Because they have banned and they've removed bells from churches because of the frequency healing that it has. So again, it's playing with our energy levels and spiritual levels that we have as humans to dumb us down, pollute us, give us food that's going to cause us inflammation, make us sick, because pharmaceutical companies, if they heal people, they have no customers. And if they cure people, they've got no customers. So how do they make money? From sickness. So when you think about that, and you think about Pfizer for 150 years has never cured anything other than produced pills to give to people, just like Microsoft, just like Bill Gates, who's evil, just like George Soros. Bill Gates produced a computer, produced a virus, and then produced a solution to the virus. So now he's all of a sudden, if you look at if you Google the best doctor or something along those lines, Bill Gates comes up. He's not even a doctor. He's got no medical history. He's got no medical qualifications. You know, so what's he doing now? He's producing this beyond meat garbage, all this fake shit, and getting people sick, and then producing a vaccine to say, well, we can help you. So this is where we need to, as adults, as males, we need to start waking up. We need to start associating with like-minded people and learning and understanding what is actually going on. We need to expand our mindset and network with people to help each other grow. And this is where we all need to get together, because there's enough money in this world for every single one of us to be rich and wealthy. The amount of money that's in this world. And the other question I say to people is the governments are telling us we owe billions of dollars. The world owes billions of dollars. Who does it owe it to?
That's a good question.
Who does it owe it to? Does it owe it to God? Who does it owe it to? So when you realize and understand we are controlled by the Jews, the world is now controlled by the Jews.
Here we go. We're getting down there.
We're getting down there. And I've got Jewish friends, Jewish clients, but even most of them will agree and say the Zionists, who are Satan followers, are the ones who are dictating and controlling. And even the true Jews don't agree and don't like the Zionists who are at the top. And they are the ones who are controlling us. So when you understand the pyramid, when they say it's our governments are just puppets. Labor, Liberal, two devils of the same body, two arms of the same body. You've got to understand the pyramid. You've got to understand who's at the top. And then when you understand, and I'll mention these three companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, Street Smart. And when you understand who's behind those, they control the world. And then you've got the Jews, which is who they are.
Yep.
Because when you Google any company, whether here in Australia or overseas, and look at the shareholders, Vanguard, BlackRock, Smart Street, are the main owners of every single company. And when they're on the board of every single company, they can dictate what that company does and what food it produces and what pharmaceuticals it produces and what we eat. So when you look at originally, and people say, I'm going in different areas here, I'm just jumping, chopping and changing. When people say, I don't eat McDonald's anymore.
Yeah, me either.
Right? I don't eat McDonald's anymore. I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole, and I'm gonna say this: human DNA has been found in McDonald's meat. Right? So we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. People can search it and see it. I'll say bullshit, George, whatever. That's okay. But when you look at McDonald's and people say, but you used to eat it when you were younger, what's the difference from when you ate it to when we eat it now? Well, let's just look at the potatoes. The potatoes were true potatoes, not Bill Gates farmed GMO potatoes, which is what it is now. Potatoes were true potatoes cooked in tallow. So when I ate McDonald's back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, our potatoes were true potatoes cooked in tallow.
Oh, so what they did do that
Yep.
back then? Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
It's not true potatoes now. They're modified potatoes cooked in seed oil.
Yep.
It's not the same. So when you look at the buns, see, soy is also our other biggest problem. Avoid soy in the system. Soy is not good for our system. So don't have soy. The first thing I do is I look at ingredients. If there's any soy in that, if there's more than 3 or 4 ingredients in something that I'm eating, I won't eat it.
Because it increases your estrogen, doesn't it? Yeah.
Correct. Soy is the thing that's slowly killing us.
So we have a lot of soy boys.
There's soy in everything. Why do they need to put soy in our food?
Yeah.
Right. So, we're chopping and changing and we're going to different things. But let's go back to our testosterone is dropping as males. We need to associate with like-minded people and be around people who are going to help us open up our eyes and understand, because the time will come where we will have to fight for our freedoms. This digital ID that they're trying to push in, when we talk about the crypto, we talked about crypto and they're pushing people to trade crypto. Crypto is a manipulated market. I don't touch it. I've not invested in it because I understand how it's been played. But they want to introduce digital currency. They want to introduce digital IDs because the moment they do that, we are controlled and we will lose our freedom. So it's not about us now. It's about our kids. It's about the next generation. What are we going to do? Because most people are just sitting back and allowing the governments and allowing the powers to be at the top to bring in all these structures. And they're doing it. We've seen it. What used to be 5 years ago a conspiracy theory is a realist now. And so as males, this is what I say to my students and people. You need to learn to make money work for you, build multiple streams of income. You need to have the right mindset because we're working our asses off. We're coming home from work. We're tired. We're exhausted. We're struggling. And that tiredness and struggling is bringing frustration into the family. We're arguing with the loved ones that we care about because they're the ones that are closest to us that we can, bring our frustration out. So as males, we're coming home. The slightest thing that our wife does or our partner does or our child does, we lose it. Our partner gets the shits because we've come home, they've been home, they're trying to deal with a child, the dog, whatever, and then we lose it because we've had a stressful day and we just need to just let it out. And then there's tension and friction. And then that's where all the shit happens. Because we tend to argue and release with the ones that are closest to us. Your best mate or a next door neighbour, you're not going to release. You're going to put on that happy face. How you going, mate? Have a beer and have a drink and go, everything's great. But when you walk into your own house, that's where your frustration is let out. And this is why we need to find ways to get together and work with each other to allow that frustration to come out so our partners don't feel it, our kids don't feel it, because they are the ones that do feel it. And then we look back and we go, shit, I let loose and I shouldn't have. I had a bad day and my son came to me and said, I need to do this, and because I'm frustrated, you can't even do that, blah, blah, blah. And then you lose it at them, and then they walk away, and then they're hating you and you're hating them and hating the situation. But when we calm down and we look back, we go, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And it takes a man to then realize I shouldn't have done that and go and apologize and say, listen, I've had a bad day. I shouldn't have acted the way I have, but I'm frustrated because we don't speak up. This is the other thing. Men don't speak up, and we need to learn to speak up.
Yeah, funny you bring this up, because I was actually journaling about this morning around, as fathers, how much of our struggles should we show our children? Because usually we show the good things, success, we put a happy smile on.
Correct.
And we're not as vulnerable. But how much of our struggles should we show?
I in my family would say about 90%. I explain and I tell my family and I tell my wife, I tell my kids what's going on. If something is frustrating me, I will let them know, because they need to understand that, especially my son, who's 18, and I need to condition him in a way that he needs to be, one, a leader, not a follower.
Yep.
And two, we're going to have tough times, and you need to be able to deal with the tough times, because unfortunately there is a high suicide rate because of people not willing to speak up and let it out. And that people don't realize that by speaking up and letting it out changes your dopamine levels, changes your mindset, and you're able to deal with it. Now, the one thing that I also do, and I have been doing for years, which is one of my mentors told me, and I encourage my students from all around the world to do as well, is, and you might resonate with this or understand this, but how many times do we wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because something's bothering us, something's on our mind, that we get up at that 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and we're thinking about it and something that we need to address or do, but we force ourselves to go back to bed, and then we wake up and we go, what was that thing that I had to do? And we forget. So what I actually do now, wherever I travel around the world, when I'm in a hotel room, at home, I have a notepad and a pen. If I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock, whenever it is, and there's something that's bothering me, something that's annoyed me, I put it down on paper. I write it.
Yeah.
So if I'm chasing someone for a payment and they haven't paid me, for example, tradies, for example, you're chasing someone and they haven't paid you, or something hasn't gone right and something is bothering you, I write it down on paper. The reason why I do that is because it hasn't fixed the situation, but I've moved it from here to here.
Yes.
Which calms my body and calms my mind to allow me to go back to bed peacefully. And I know in the morning when I wake up with a clear mind, it's there and I can address it. Because I've had sleep, my body's relaxed, and then I can address it in a different mindset. And so a mentor many years ago told me to do that, because I myself, before I started going down the path that I have been for the 25 years, struggled. I was working, trying to make ends meet, and because of not being able to make ends meet, that brought frustration into the family. I will take it out on my wife. I will take it out on our newborn. And, there were times where I was thinking, well, what's life all about? Is this what life is going to be for the rest of my life? That every day I go to work, I'm trying to make ends meet. I've got all these bills that I'm trying to pay. I'm waiting for the deadline to pay it, to try to get the money to be able to pay it. And sometimes I go over, And so I needed to find ways to, one, build wealth, make my money work for me, and also get over that frustration. And again, finding a coach, finding a mentor, someone that's going to help get me to that level, because my own thinking that's got me into this hole, I can't use that thinking to get me out of that hole.
Yeah.
So I need to find someone that I can speak to and bounce off and talk to that's going to help me get out of that hole. And that's why it is important to be able to speak up.
Yeah.
And this is where a coach said to me, whatever's bothering you for that night or that day, that you wake up that's still bothering you, that's lingering in your mind, write it down. Go to bed. And then you'll wake up with a clear mind to address it. And that's how I moved forward. I've got this bill. I don't know where I'm going to find the money. It's bothering me. It's stressing me. I've been thinking about it all day. I'm working. I wrote it down. I need to find a way to find the money to pay this bill. I've got this bill that's due on the 8th of October, for example. And by putting it there, it hasn't fixed the situation, but it's taken it away from my conscious and subconscious mind. And this is what people need to start doing. It's amazing what you put out to the universe and what the universe gives you back when you put out more positiveness. What you put out is what you get back. And my surname is Fokas, but it's spelled Fokas, but I say Focus, and I say to people, spell it the correct way. The focus you put out is the focus you get back. The energy you put out, the energy you get back. Positive thoughts produce positive effects. Negative thoughts produce negative effects. The more negative you're thinking, you don't understand that negativity that you're thinking is what you're going to get back and what the universe will give you. Isn't it interesting that, and I always manifest this, when I go to a place where I know parking is going to be scarcity, I always manifest where I'm going to find my parking spot. And I'll say 9 out of 10 times I get that parking spot because I've already put it out there. I've already manifested it. I've already closed my eyes and visualized it. So when I close my eyes and visualize that bill, I will find the money and the money will come. The money comes to pay that bill because I've already manifested and put out to the universe that I will find the money to pay that bill and the money will come. Whereas other people are saying, fuck, where am I going to find that money? I don't know where that money's going to come from. I've got to try and find a way. I don't know where that money's going to come from. See, it's that negative energy that they're putting out.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's, again, this isn't just something that just happens. You need to be able to talk to people and listen to people. And as men, I used to have this saying when I was teaching. I used to say, we men, males, we die at the age of 21 and get buried at the average age of 65 to 70. I'll tell you what that means.
I think I know where you're going with this.
We finish school, we do a trade, we do a course, and by 21 we're qualified, and for the rest of our lives that's all we do. We don't expand our mindset. We don't learn something different. We don't learn something new. We just stick to what we've done, and we say that's my path for the rest of my life until we get buried. And so what I find when I teach learning how to make money, because I don't always teach money, I talk mindset as well, because money is easy to make. Your mindset's either going to make you or break you.
Yep.
Okay. So there's ways to make money, but because people are conditioned by the education system, they spend it and they lose it because they don't have the right mindset to learn how to make it, how to keep it, and how to grow it. That's the biggest thing. And this is why they say people who win the lottery within 18 months, they've blown it because they don't understand the value of it. They don't understand how to invest it and make it work for them. People get money, they make money, and then they blow it, they spend it. And this is the thing. Males will do one course. Once they've finished that trade and they've got that course, they do that for the rest of their lives. Whereas I find females are more willing to go, my husband's struggling, I need a job, I'm working, but I need to make more money. I need to find ways to make money. And females will expand their mindset to learn what to do. Whether it's invest in a property, find a property to renovate, do the stock market like I do, or, sell something, go do a hair thing, convert a garage to a studio, do nails, painting, hair, whatever it is. Females are more open to expanding, males aren't.
Is that an ego thing?
Yeah, probably. I'm just, yes and no. It's not always an ego thing, it's more comfort. Being in a comfort zone.
Because the why I bring up ego is like they don't want to start from the beginning again. Because they said it's like less than.
Yep. It's more, yes. Look, I'm not going to say totally.
Yeah.
I'll say yes, you're right, but I also say it's just comfort. This is what I know. I find tradies. I'm good with my hands. I'm not good with my mind. I can't get on a computer. I don't know how to turn it on, or I don't know how to click some buttons to make money off the stock market. That's what I get. But when I teach tradies the strategy that I do, for example, they go, shit, I can do this. But they've been conditioned all their lives that all they can do and all they know is my hands. My tools are my hands.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's until someone pushes them and pushes them out of their comfort zone, that's where you grow and you succeed.
Yeah, and I think it's once you surround yourself with people that are actually doing these different things, it really expands your mind. Because I got a tradie background, so I was doing air conditioning and refrigeration.
Yep.
And then I was on my own journey of podcasting and learning about camera equipment and stuff. But now diving into this and working with different clients and seeing the types of money that they're making and how they're making it, it really expands your mind to if these guys can do it, why can't I?
You've hit the nail on the head. If they can do it, why can't I? Model someone who's doing what you want to do. There's no reason why you need to reinvent the wheel. If there's someone doing what you want to do, model them. Do you know how many times people are scared to approach someone who's rich or wealthy or well-known to ask, can you give me a tip on what you do, or how have you gotten to where you are today? You'd be amazed at how many people will sit and explain to you what they've done and how their journey is and how what their path is to get to where they are, right? From where they were. And, you know, people look at me, and people who get to know me, who understand me, think that I'm this high roller, got all this money, you know, and I can't be like that, or I can't get to that. I'm an average person, and I say this to everybody. I'm an ordinary person just like every single one of you. I'm no better than anybody. We have the same 24 hours in a day. You know, it's not about the clothes we wear or the way we look or the shoes we wear or the car we drive. That's materialistic shit. It's irrelevant. It's how do we help each other? Because for me, I have issues in my life every single day. I've got my father who's 90 in hospital at the moment. My third child was born at 6 months. She was 3 months premature. So I have issues in my life every day. I have bills in my, you know, every day that I've got to pay and things that I've got to do. I've got the ATO, you know, chasing me and coming after me for stuff that, you know, businesses that I've set up and all that sort of stuff because they want more money than they're entitled to and they deserve. So there's all this sort of stuff that I've got to deal with. Accountants, board of directors, shareholders, all that sort of stuff. But that's life. Yeah. To get to that point, you know, I want to get to that point. People say to me, oh my gosh, George, you pay tax. I love paying tax. You know, how many people I meet who go, oh, I'm going to do my tax return because I'm going to get money from the tax man. They're going to pay me back. And I go, do you realize you're running at a negative if the tax government has to pay you back at the end of the year? Do you want to be running your life as a negative? I love paying tax. I don't want to pay too much tax. I want to minimize my tax, right? But I love paying tax. You want to know why I love paying tax? Because I'm in profit. I'm making money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But how do I use my money to diversify, to minimize what tax I pay? Right? Kerry Packer was very smart. He came out. There's a video about him. If you TikTok it or search it, he's sitting in a court arguing with the government, saying, I'm a fool if I don't minimize my tax that I give you. Right? So I'm happy to pay tax, but if there's systems and loopholes in the system, which there are, that I can minimize my tax, why wouldn't I take advantage of that?
Exactly.
Right? But when people are thinking they're working their asses off and they've got to pay, and they're going to get money at the end of the financial year from the government, and they're waiting to do their tax returns because the government's going to pay them back money, you're running at a negative.
And you're only getting a couple of grand back.
That's anyway. Right. That's a negative mindset. And you're running off that mindset. No wonder you're struggling every month trying to pay bills.
Yeah.
So if what you're doing is keeping you in a negative, change what you're doing. Right? Don't wait to 60, 65 realizing the government handout of pensions not going to give you what you want. So when you work for someone, you're a slave to someone's dreams and visions.
Yes.
You've got to learn to work for yourself. You've got to be a sole trader. You've got to be a company. You've got to be a structure working for yourself. If you really want to succeed in life, the biggest thing you need to understand is you've got to work for yourself. Because when you're working for somebody else, you're working for somebody else's dreams. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's the biggest thing I can say. And the other thing also is do today what others don't to have tomorrow what others won't. That's my biggest distinction that I teach my students all around the world. Think about that. Do today what others don't to have tomorrow what others won't. Because what do most people do? They work a week, they're frustrated, they've worked their asses off, they had a shit week. Come Friday night, they're at the pub drinking. Come Saturday, they're watching an AFL game or an NRL game. By Sunday, they've blown what they've made for the week. Come Monday, they're back in the rat race.
Yep. And
then they wonder why they're not successful. Whereas when I travel on weekends teaching and I have a group of 300-400 people in a room, most people are out there drinking and enjoying themselves and doing all that sort of stuff, trying to have that temporary fix of feel good because they've had a shit week. But I've got 400 people in a room that want to learn because they want to better themselves. They're doing today what most people aren't, to have tomorrow what most people won't.
Yeah, I live that analogy when it comes to my training. So I'm training for my second boxing fight at the moment.
Good.
And it's like if I miss sessions, that's going to affect me when it comes to my fight. So you can't miss sessions.
Consistency.
And there's people that are missing sessions. Well, okay, good luck on fight night.
Correct.
You have to show up and do those initial sessions, but do the extra sessions that people are not doing.
Correct.
Like I'm training twice a day, most days. Yep. Whereas some guys only train a couple of times a week.
Yep.
And you can see the difference in people that are actually putting in the effort. My diet is fucking impeccable. Like like yourself,
Yep.
really dialed into my diet. I'm the healthiest and fittest that I've ever been.
Yep.
I'm in great shape. I feel great about myself. And that's all from putting a big priority in my health and fitness, because I know exactly what you said. What you do today is going to affect you tomorrow.
Correct.
And you have to do that.
Yep.
But most people don't.
No. That's the biggest distinction. We're not willing to put the effort in. We're not willing to be consistent. Consistent is showing up every day. And if you miss a day, you realize you missed a day, but you keep going through it and you keep doing it. Whereas people want to be perfect. They rock up for 5 days, they miss a day, then they stop. It's not being perfect, it's being consistent. You may miss a day or two, but you've got to keep rocking up. Good, bad, or indifferent, no matter what's happening in life, you've got to rock up and you've got to show up. That's consistency. And consistency is the key to success.
Yes. And as fathers, I think that's the biggest lesson that we can pass down to our children. And coming back to what I was journaling this morning around showing up and how much that we show our children, because I think this will resonate a lot with you, because now you're going through it with your son graduating school. It's like the world's your oyster, right?
Correct.
And you're either going to get, one of two responses. The first one being, you sure about that? I'm not going to believe in you because you gave up on your dreams, Dad. You never went out there and achieved anything. You never showed up. Or the second one, which is what I'm working towards each and every single day, is, yeah, Dad, I believe in you because you did it. You showed up every single day. Yes, you went through relationship breakdown. I seen you cry. Business went to shit. But you kept turning up. You kept pushing yourself mentally, spiritually, physically. I believe in you because you did it. You got to lead by example for your kids. And that is my whole mentality now. I've got a little 3-year-old and they see everything that you do. You can tell them to do stuff, but they see what you do.
They don't go off what you tell them. They go off what they see.
Exactly. I take my daughter to the gym. We do everything together because it's getting her in that environment and showing her the priority of, for example, health and fitness, looking after yourself. She loves coming in the podcast studio. She loves being in here, seeing the things that I'm doing. And it's just getting her used to that and going, okay, this is what it takes to get to where you want to go. You got to be willing to put in the work.
Correct.
And if Dad can do it, so can you. You got to lead by example.
Spot on. And the other thing also is my son, we're pushing him, right? Do your best at school. Okay. You're in your last year, you're doing your HSC shortly. Do the best you can. I don't care what you get, as long as I can see you've put in the effort. If I can see you've put in the effort and you get 40, I'm happy with 40 because you've put in the effort. But if you don't put in the effort and you get 40, I'm not going to be happy with that. Because I say to my son, if you want to go to uni, you can go to uni. If you don't want to go to uni, I don't care if you don't go to uni. I just want you to do something that you're going to love to do. That's going to be your passion. That's going to be your drive. That every morning when you wake up, you're doing it because you want to do it, not because you have to do it. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Right? So what is your why? Why are you getting out of bed today? What's your why? What do you want to achieve today? Because you're going to do what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You need to enjoy it. See, a lot of people chase money. And the biggest thing I said to my son is, because I've been teaching my son from the age of 15 how to trade, to do my strategy. And he does it now. He sort of knows a strategy and he does it. He's got an account there that's making him money. And the thing that I said to my son is, I want you to realize and understand that when you chase money, money will never come. When you chase your dreams and your passions, you'll always have money. When you do something you love, the money will come. But if you're always chasing money, because people are chasing money, why are you doing that job? Because I'm going to make money. If you're chasing the money, money will never come. You'll struggle all your life. Never chase money. Chase your dreams and your passions and the money will always come. And that's the one thing I said to my son. I said, I don't care whether you go to uni or not. You choose what you want to do, but do your best. If your best gives you 40, I'm going to love you as much as, your best gives you 60 or 80 or 100. But if you don't do your best, I'm going to be disappointed in you because you didn't put the effort in. And the other thing that I say to my kids is, irrespective of what I've built and what I'm going to pass down to them, if they don't put the effort in thinking that they're going to get handouts from me, they're going to get zero.
Yeah.
So they need to prove to me that they understand the value of $1 and how to make the dollar into 2. Because I said to them, if you're going to think you're going to sit on your ass and Dad's going to feed you and pay you and Dad's going to give you all this stuff, you will get nothing in the end. It'll go to somewhere else. So I've said to them, you need to prove to me that you're capable to do what you can on your own, and you understand that what I'm going to be passing down, you're able to look after it and grow it.
What came to me then is, I think I seen a video, I think it was Shaquille O'Neal. he was saying about his son. His son was talking about him saying, "Oh yeah, like our businesses and stuff like that." And he stopped and he goes, "Our businesses? These are my businesses. You got to earn that. You got to go out there, come up with your own ideas, everything like that.
Yep.
Yes, I'm here to support you, but you got to go out and build your own legacy, your own businesses, your own dreams."
Yep.
And a big lesson that also came up through what you were just discussing that my father instilled in me was, you know, basically around the path of go out there and chase what you want to chase, right? But be the best at it. If you want to be a garbage man, be the best fucking garbage man.
Exactly right.
Be the best version of you, because if you're not being that best version of you, what's the point? It really is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I can tell you this. I know people who have money that most people couldn't fathom, that wouldn't understand, right? And I meet people and I deal with people who have a lot of money, who live miserable lives, right? And then I meet people and I know people and even my own family who live paycheck to paycheck and struggle and live a beautiful life because it's not about the money, it's about the values that they bring to the house. So this is why I say don't chase money. Do the best you can and do what you love because you're going to be doing it, and don't worry about the money. Money will come.
Yeah.
Right? Biggest thing that people need to understand.
Yeah, and I'm going through that right now. So I transitioned into my business full time, which has allowed me the freedom to live the life that I want.
Yep.
And allows me to train twice a day, allows me to spend a lot of quality time with my daughter, allows me to podcast, connect with different people.
Yep.
I'm not making heaps of money, but I'm making the money that allows me to live this lifestyle.
But see how you glowed just then saying what you just said. Yeah. I started my business. Yeah. I'm doing it full time. I've been able to go to the gym twice a day. I've been able to spend time with my daughter. I've been able to... So see how you're not worrying about the money side of it. You're willing to do all this other stuff, to have this other stuff that gives you comfort and warmth and happiness and love. You're making some money, but you've got all the other benefits. Yeah. Imagine if you're in a job making a shitload of money, but you missed out on going to the gym twice a day because from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 at night, you're on a job site or you're in an office. You can't do your gym. You can't see your daughter because you can only see her at night for 2 hours before she goes to bed, and you can't do all the other stuff.
That'd be miserable.
That's exactly right. So I'll tell you this story. I have a pilot here in Sydney who lost his job and because of the jab, and said to me, George, I'm making, a lot of money being a pilot, but I'm always away from my family. So I was able to help him make basically less than half of what he was making, but now he stays at home, takes his kids to school, spends time with his wife, and does the stuff that he wants, goes and plays golf. So he's not making as much as what he was making, but he's now got the freedom and the lifestyle. Yeah. Right? So he was able to work out, I can make ends meet with just this much. I didn't need this much. I was chasing that. I can make ends meet, but now I've got everything else around me, which is exactly what you just said. And you glowed when you said it, right? So you've got that lifestyle, that freedom, rather than being in a rat race. Because the one thing I say is our education system is a factory assembly plant that spits out taxpayers to keep us in the rat race. So how do we find ways to make money work for us and ways to give us more time? We can always make money. The one thing we will never get back is time, which you can appreciate. Yes. Because time is the most valuable commodity we will never get back. Because life can change in an instant. How many young people are dying right now with heart attacks, turbo cancers, and we won't go where that's coming from. Yep. Right?
I think if people are listening to this, they get the gist.
Right? Just in an instant, how life changes. I would rather not have the money and have my time with my children than have the money, because I came into this world with nothing and I'm leaving this world with nothing. The one thing that's going to be left behind are the memories, not the money.
I think that's what true wealth is.
That's exactly right. See, originally in the dictionary, wealth was health. And then they changed it to be monetary, to be money. Right? That wealth is money, but wealth is health. You can have 1,000 problems, but when you've got a health problem, you've got one problem.
Yes.
Right? So that's why it is important to associate with like-minded people. Have an open mind. Listen, even though you may not disagree, may not agree with what people are saying. Listen. Question. Associate with like-minded people. Question what you're doing. Question what's going on around the world. And that's going to help us expand and grow.
We speak about questioning and having integrity and speaking about what we believe in, right? And I think everyone's seen what happened about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago with Charlie Kirk and the assassination there. And really that would have instilled a lot of fear into people around speaking up what you believe in. What's your advice around that? Because there is a lot of fear there.
I'm smirking at the moment. Sorry. You mentioned Charlie Kirk. Can I throw a spanner in the works?
Yes.
Is he really dead?
Oh, here we go. That's a good question. I guess, no, we don't know.
Project Bluebeam. See the projector that was standing behind him, up in the corner behind him?
I'd have to watch the video again, but...
Watch the video. Was it really him? Where did the shooter come from?
Yeah.
Well, one of the cameras, supposedly cameras, the actual weapon that shot him. Was it the security guard that was behind doing hand gestures?
I seen that.
Was it the other guy that was sitting there where he put his hand like this? And then all of a sudden, the blood comes out this side, where they're saying the shooter was over there, in a distance on a roof. And if you look at that footage, you can see that footage edited. Because if you look at his feet get missing as he's running, that person who's on the roof. And if you look at the tree doesn't have a stump. It's missing a stump as you watch the full video.
Okay.
Slow motion. So that's been edited. If a shooter's there shooting him, it'd be going this way, that way. There's no entry point. There's only an exit point of blood. So I'm throwing all this stuff into conspiracy for people to think about. Because if it's coming from that way, he's been shot that way. There's a guy over here with his hand over here, and all of a sudden it's shot. But then there's cameras, and do we know if they're real cameras? Because all that was taken away immediately. If that's a crime scene, wouldn't they be closing that off and investigating? Why did everything get packed up? And then why did they, the next day or the day after, repave that whole area? The bullet's never been found. There's no entry point. There's only an exit point that we just saw blood coming out. So I don't know. And this is where now we need to start thinking outside the square and start questioning. I'm not taking what they're giving me as gospel.
So then in your opinion, why would they fake his assassination?
Because Israel wanted him dead. So why would they do it? Do we go deeper into it? I won't go deeper into it. But all I'm saying is, do I believe he's dead? I don't. There's not enough evidence for me to show, other than what they've shown us, that he's dead. But let's just go back to, because now...
Yeah, you got my mind going.
Let's go back to, let's just assume he's dead. Let's assume that they killed him. And if he is dead and they did kill him, and if this whole scene is real and it's not a Project Bluebeam, why would they kill him? Because he's speaking truth. He's going against the narrative of what they're pushing. What's he pushing? What's he talking about? When he's talking about religion. See, I question his wife as well, because if they're pushing the religion, they're pushing that they're Christian, they're pushing that, why is his wife doing the devil signs with Trump at his funeral? Why does the Pope do that when we know that's the devil signs? AC/DC used to do that and called that the devil signs, the horns. So why are our leaders doing that? What message are they putting out to show the general public that are blind to that everybody else up there knows that they've got to give the signs to put the signs out? I mean, if you look at Huggies, I'm jumping here now. If you look at Huggies nappies, they've got the pedophile symbols on the Huggies nappies. Did you know that? So these are all signs. Look at the I love boys and I love girls pedophile symbols, and look on the Huggies nappies. So, I've just thrown a spanner in the works here. You're going to search it.
I'm trying to find it.
Yep, I can show you. I've got it all saved.
Yeah.
All this, everything that I say and everything that I do, I back up. I've got evidence of, and I've got videos and stuff.
Pull it up after, but yeah. Okay.
Look it up later, right? So let's go back to Charlie Kirk. He's talking Christian values. He's going against their narrative to dumb us down, to bring mental illness into mainstream society, pushing the trans. So they're trying to push trans. They're trying to push all this sort of stuff to bring all this into society. So we have to accept it. We go back, and then we'll jump again to something else. We'll talk about And again, no disrespect to the Middle East or the Muslims, but they're bringing all these Muslims into Christian countries. Why? Why are they bringing all these Middle Eastern people into Europe, into Christian countries? Now, if they want to leave their country because of war or because of what's going on, there's 50 other 7 Middle Eastern Muslim countries. Why aren't they going to those? And if their laws and their rules, and they're leaving their laws and their rules because they're suffering, why would they want to bring their laws and their rules into Australia or into Europe? If you're leaving that country because of their laws and their rules, then why are you bringing those laws and rules here? You should be complying. We are a Christian country here in Australia. Why would we bring in Muslim laws? If your laws are that good, go to a Muslim country and live by them. I don't have a problem. I can't go to a Muslim country and talk Christianity. They would kill me. I respect their laws. I go to a Muslim country. I respect my wife needs to be covered up. I respect that. And I will comply because that's their country and that's their laws and their rules.
Tell you what gets me with the whole protesting, and you've got the LGBT people protesting for that. Are they that fucked up that they don't realize if they went to that country, they would be beheaded?
Correct. They want to protest against it or for it, but then they've got issues over there. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So this is why the powers to be, again, I'm not calling them elites, the scumbags up the top, are bringing all this unjust in countries because they want to bring a problem and then provide a solution. Bring a problem to a country where they're going to prove that our governments aren't worthy enough to be able to control this, right? And because of that, the one world government that they want to bring in will be able to control it because we'll have one rule for everybody. And that's the path that we're going to.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot that we can talk about. But I guess the purpose of, and I congratulate you for what you do, and I have watched your podcasts, and I thank you for having me here today. The one thing we also need to understand is whether we agree or disagree, whether you're Christian, atheist, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever you are, they're bringing in all this diversification, they're bringing all this distraction and all this division because they want to control us.
Yes.
When there's more division, when there's more hate, they can bring in their rules and control us. When we unite, I've got Muslim friends. I grew up with Muslim friends, for example, right? So we understand, they understand me, I understand them. We don't talk religion. That's your religion, that's your belief. That's great. We can be friends while you have your religion, I have my religion. There's no issue. We don't need to say mine's better than yours or yours is better than mine. But what they're doing is they're bringing division because that's how they can bring in their rules. So we need to, as males, as adults, collectively get together and say, okay, we've got different beliefs. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to fight because my belief is better than yours or your belief is better than mine. Together, collectively, we can beat the system. But we need to unite to beat the system because at the moment the system is beating us. And that's where we have to, because it's not just the system is trying to dumb us down, be a slave to the system, struggle, make ends meet, and work.
Yes.
Because while we're doing all that, we can't see what they're trying to bring in and introduce.
All distractions.
That's it. So this is where we need people like you who is bringing the awareness out. And again, whether we agree or disagree, it's okay. What do we need to do collectively? How do we network, socialize, talk about our feelings, talk about what's going on so we can become a stronger unity together with different mindsets, different beliefs to be able to fight that system? Because I can tell you within the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to need to do that to fight the system.
Let me ask you this. Do you have hope that we will unite? Because I've seen a post and you said, we live in a world that would still crucify Jesus.
Correct.
So
right now, if
hope?
Jesus was here, they would crucify him.
Yeah.
Do I have hope? Yes. Do we talk about the second coming? Yes. From 2025, okay, so I'm going to talk a bit of investment side. We're going to, 2026 to end of 2026 to 27, we're going to see a shift in property prices where property prices are going to come down. This is what the analysts are saying. Analysts who I've been following from the early 90s who have been accurate every single prediction. Property prices at the moment are going up and people are jumping in on the bandwagon, buying. We've got, capital growth. Great. We've got equity. But property prices are going to turn around. They're going to shift. They're going to come down. We're going to struggle till 2032. They're going to bring in digital currency. They're going to do it. We need to push against it. Digital currency will come out. Digital ID will come out. Once that comes in, we're screwed. They're going to control us. They're going to dictate us. Cameras. Europe's bringing out the fingerprinting and all that sort of stuff. They don't want us traveling. So they're going to restrict us from traveling. We're going to have a social credit score where if you don't comply and if you don't follow the rules, you don't tick the boxes, your credit score isn't good, you can't travel. That's where they're all going, right? So we will struggle till 2032. And then society's going to wake up and people are going to realize, and that's where we're going to start to fight between 2030 and 2032. So the more we do what we say and what we're saying and doing, by me posting, trying to just get people to wake up and just see things, and what you're doing, I think we can beat the system, but the system's going to shut us down first. And that's where we're going to wake up.
It's bound to happen. Like the pendulum has to swing back at some point, right?
Correct. Correct.
And we're not having this conversation to scare people per se. It's more so that we need to bring awareness to it.
That's the biggest thing. It's not about being scared. It's not about that. It's about open-mindedness, awareness, and there's nothing we can do right now other than collectively we need to be together.
Yes.
Putting our beliefs aside, right, and being together. I'm all for humanity, looking after people, respecting people. Whatever their beliefs are, whatever their mental illness is, respecting people. But there's no point in us jumping on Harbour Bridge and protesting for Palestine, and there's no point in protesting for anything else. We need to look after our own country.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to protest for Palestine, go for it. Go to Palestine and protest. Right? No issue. Go. But here, right now, with what the government's doing, our Labor Party is destroying us right now. Right? Cost of living is going to go up even more. People have voted for the Labor Party. The reason why he is bringing these immigrants every day into Australia, these Indians and Pakistanis and all that, and again, I've got no issue with them, is because they vote for him. And that's why he's bringing them in. 1.5 million that he's brought in, they're voting for him. He wants those votes to stay in. He's destroying the country. He's bringing them in because they're good for the country. If they're good for the country, they would have been good for India. They wouldn't need to leave. Or for Pakistan to be here.
Yeah.
So he's just doing that, bringing this unjust here for his vote. So we need to wake up to that. I mean, first time ever, I used to vote Labor, then I went Liberal. And again, it doesn't matter what you vote. But of late, I'm voting for Pauline Hanson because what she used to say where everyone thought she was a nutter, most people now are saying fucking she was right.
Yep.
And we were laughing at her. Right? So this is where we need people who are looking out for our country. And if you don't want to be in this country, go somewhere else. Exactly. If you don't agree with our values and what this country was raised and brought up as, because we started as a convict country, we're getting there at the moment. That's where we're going.
Yeah. And when we speak about being a prisoner of our own minds, we are convicts.
I mean, when you think about what they did, so I argued. I'll tell you this quick story. When COVID came out and we were restricted from traveling, I've got a place up north, holiday house.
Yep.
I put on social media that I'm traveling to my holiday house, right? Because the legislation, even though it's not law, because I go off the Constitution of 1901, right? That's what I go on. The legislation says well, you can't go, but you can't move, right? You've got to stay in your LGA. But it said you can go from house to house. So I put on Facebook, as a shit stir, I'm going to my holiday house. 3 hours later, I had the police at my door. At 9 o'clock at night, they knocked at my door.
Really?
You can't go tomorrow. You need to stay in your LGA. So I pulled out the legislation. I pulled out the paperwork to them and I said, but it says I can go. You can't stop me. They said, oh, no, we can't stop you, but we're instructing you that you should probably just stay in your LGA. I said, I'm not. So what I posted, someone reported me and they came within 3 hours to my door. So the biggest thing you need to understand is these legislations and mandates are not law. I go off the Constitution of 1901 because that's what's sworn in. And if you open up your passport to the first page, it says we are free to roam this country without any hindrance. So go straight off your passport because that's our legal document. And the passport says they cannot restrict us from traveling. But everybody tried to comply with the mandate or the legislation. Legislation is not law. So this is where, again, we need to expand our mindset because if all of us understood this and were willing to fight, the police had no leg to stand on. I mean, all those fines that they gave us when it went to court had no leg to stand on But how many people complied because they were shit scared to push back?
I don't even think the police wanted to comply with the rules most of the
Oh,
time.
most of them didn't. Some did. Some, the police, no disrespect, not all of them. They have this power, on the police officer. Let's say the power you have away from the badge.
Yeah.
But that's where you need to have no being rude or anything, respectful. But here's my constitution.
Yeah.
1901.
A big part of me, like, I'm working towards this anyway, but a big part of me just wants to hurry up and buy some land and fuck off out of society.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of work to be done. Like we as you said, we need to fight for Australia.
We need to fight for our country. I'm proud of this country. I'm not proud of where it is right now. I was born here. My parents came from Europe. Australia's my country.
Yeah.
But I'm not proud of where we are right now.
Yeah.
Because the way our government is what they're doing, that's not Australia. And the way people are carrying on and acting, that's not the Australian way. So what do we need to do? How do we collectively need to get together to change the path that we are going down for this country? That's what we need to look at.
We have spoken about a lot of stuff today.
We have.
And we've gone down a couple of different rabbit holes, which has been amazing. I love these sorts of conversations. As I said, it's bringing awareness to these different areas, and we need to be having more conversations like this. And I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing that, and
You're welcome.
being the man of integrity that you are, and not afraid to share your beliefs, because we need to have more conversations like this.
Yeah, people need to speak up. And again, it's we need to have respect, whether we believe in what someone is saying or not saying. There needs to be respect, right?
Yes.
And by understanding, and again, I can still respect you even if I don't agree with what you're saying, and I can still respect you even if I don't believe in your religious belief, for example.
Yep.
Right? We're losing respect, and that's the biggest thing here too. There is no respect in society. If you look back at our grandparents here in Australia, there was respect. There was love, there was respect, there was understanding. That's all going out the door. And that's why there's this division.
For the people that want to, follow your journey and see the posts that you put on, where can they best find you?
Look, Facebook and Instagram, it is my personal pages. So I don't have, my Instagram, for example, is not many followers. I'm big on social media, but I'm not big on having people follow me because, I'm cautious of who does follow me. So if they want George Fokas, Fokas is my surname, either on Facebook. It's a picture of me and my family, and the same on Instagram. They're the two main. Telegram I don't do anymore because I just do everything on Facebook now. They don't seem to block me anymore.
Yep.
But that's where if they want to, that's the personal side. There is the business page as well, but the business page is just what I do with regards to trading and investing. My personal is where they get to see all the fun stuff. That's the fun stuff.
And I say you put a lot of, you named it Focusology.
Yes.
Sounds like a uni degree.
Focusology. That's, Focusology. Look, again, Focusology for me is, I'm usually a positive person. I'm very positive. I look at always the positive side of things, no matter whether in a negative situation. I'm always looking for solutions to problems. I'm not looking for more problems to problems. So everybody looks for problems. And this is the other thing I mentioned to you. Do we react to a situation or do we respond? There's a difference, and people need to understand the difference between react and respond to a situation. So Focusology is more about mindset. It's more about changing your mindset, being positive. There's always problems. How do we be positive? How do we find the solution to the problem?
George, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Nick. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody listening. If you've listened all the way to the end, thank you. And you haven't switched off.